Rumuokoro, Rivers State, detectives from the special area Rumudomaya Police Division have arrested a woman identified as Jessica in connection with the alleged torture of a 13-year-old girl. The incident occurred in Rumuokoro, Obiakpo local government area and is linked to separate allegations of rape against Jessica's husband, Ebuka. The victim's mother, Goodness, whose name withheld to protect her identity, reported that on Sunday, December 29, 2024, Jessica allegedly stripped her daughter naked, baited her in pepper, inserted pepper into her vagina, and physically assaulted her with a machete. This alleged attack followed accusations that the teenager had engaged in sexual activity with Ebuka. According to Goodness, her daughter disclosed that on Christmas Day, December 25th, 2024, she was taken to Jessica's house by a mutual acquaintance. While Jessica and the friend were briefly away on an errand, Ebuka allegedly raped the teenager, threatening her into silence. The alleged rape was not immediately reported to the threats. Ebuka has reportedly been at large silence since then. The situation escalated on Sunday when Jessica allegedly lured the teenager to her home under false pretenses and carried out the alleged assault. Witnesses reportedly recorded parts of the incident. Ebuka has since been apprehended and has denied rape allegations in his statement to the police. Prince Wiro, National Coordinator of the Center for Basic Rights Protection and Accountability Campaign, has strongly condemned the alleged torture. We have interacted with the teenager and even saw the bruises and wounds on her body, Wiro stated. We demand a thorough investigation by the police. The police should make concerted efforts to bring in Ebuka, the woman's husband, to answer for the allegation against him, and anybody found culpable in course of investigation should be made to face the law. We will describe the alleged torture as inhumane, barbaric, and disheartening. Attempts to obtain officials' comments from River State Police Command spokesperson SP Grace Irene Koko were unsuccessful at the time of filing this report. So, I don't know. I find this story very disheartening, and I think it's becoming, almost becoming a norm where you get to hear that on a daily basis. You get to hear that teenagers, children are being raped or are being molested sexually and all of that. Yeah, sure. I don't know. What do you think about this story, especially in the case of this young girl who is just, I think, 13? Obviously, she cannot just wake up one morning and then accuse an elderly person of rape if he actually didn't carry that act out. So what do you think about this case?
Yeah, wow. When I heard about it earlier, it was very disheartening. And I know there are always two sides of stories like this when you talk about the victim and the person who has been the alleged or the accused person. Now, in this particular case, what I think is, yes, probably Ebuka would have done it or maybe did not do it. But my problem lies with the lady, that's the wife of Ebuka, who carried out that kind of barbaric action by torturing a girl to that point. And it's just a very crazy story because, one, Ebuka went missing after the whole situation. Which kind of
suggests that
throws a shady like that, there is something wrong somewhere. Because he had to be apprehended somewhere else. So definitely, if we are judging like from common sense, Ebuka did it and forced this young lady to be quiet. But the line of action taken by the wife is just terrible. And I don't think, like with the story, I've heard enough about the consequences she had to face for that, because you doing that to another person's child. Okay, let's assume they had an affair together. Let's assume, okay, yes, she probably seduced Ebuka, but look, she's 13 years old. Ebuka probably is in his early 30s. So does it mean he didn't have enough sense to reject? And it's just wrong on every sphere you put it on. What the woman would do to another person's child because of a rape case. Yes, there was anger, I know, but there should also be like reasonable self-control. in knowing how to handle the issue.
But do you think she has the right to be angry? Because I don't think I don't see how possible it is for, you use the word seduce, for a child of that age. She's just 13 to be able to seduce an adult.
Yeah.
So whatever the woman must have assumed could have been the issue, it still doesn't, I don't think, do you think it still gives her the right to go ahead, and even if the child actually seduced the man, which I think is impossible, do you think, yes, I think it's quite impossible.
Okay.
Do you think whatever action that lady carried out on that child, even if she seduced the man like you said, do you think it was worth it?
Seduced or not seduced, it wasn't worth it. It was wrong.
Okay.
That's it. And even the aspect of seduction, yeah, it's generally impossible for a child to do that. But let's be frank, a lot of young people are crazy in our day.
This child is 13.
It's, 13-year-olds. Things are happening, my brother. So, like, that is not generally or on a large scale possible. But the problem is not with the young girl. It's with the man. Because, okay, let's assume, even though she was 16, and she seduced him, didn't he have any sense to say no? And I mean, Ebuka should have known he was married to perhaps a not very okay woman upstairs, because for somebody to carry out that kind of action over such a matter without even getting the facts properly, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't at all.
Okay, so the issue of Ebuka going missing for now actually suggests that he kind of in a way probably would have done what he was accused of.
Definitely.
Do you understand? So now this brings me to, like I said, the issue of rape and all of that on a daily basis. What do you think can be done to curtail these rape cases, especially with guys? I was talking to someone the other day, and I told the person, you hardly hear of ladies raping men, or you know.
Yeah, it's happened though.
Yeah, it happens, but you hardly hear of such things. Yeah. But the issue of the male always raping and sexually abusing the females. What do you think can be done to curtail this issue of rape, like put an end to, or to a large extent limit this whole issue of rape?
You know, the problem with rape in society is a very old case, as old as time itself. And in our society today, especially a society like Nigeria, let me digress a bit. There was something that happened with me and my sisters. We went on an outing. I think that should be at one of the parks here in Port Harcourt, and I think I hadn't gotten there yet, so I was on my way. But when I got there, my sister told me of something that happened in the queue, while they were trying to queue to get tickets. Now, a man went behind her, zipped down his knicker, because there was
a lot of crowd,
a lot of crowd, so it would have been her, and was feeling away on her. And she turned and caught him, and the man took off and all. And now my point of that story is what another man said when she was trying to chase him. The man said she should leave him, that the man is mentally unwell. So now you see how that sounds. So now people do all these things. You know, in society, many people blame the ladies or the victims for not being, quote unquote, properly dressed for them. So meaning that they are the ones that have, you know, instigated the whole rape situation. Action. Which is a very foolish thing. It was a very foolish comment by somebody to say that he was mentally unstable. So that is why his action of committing such a thing should be justifiable, because he's not well. There are other people that are not well. And if he was not well, he was seeing it up and down. So how come he's not really that well? So back to what we are saying now. A lot of people in society tend to blame the victims of rape for the reasons rape happened. Yes, there's a factor to it. In fact, there's no factor to it. There should be no situation whereby anybody should be caused to rape a person because of how she's dressed. Because if a lady or whoever in this case scenario is dressed immorally, you have a choice of looking away.
Exactly.
There's always a choice. So it is people making poor choices and causing these rapes to happen. Now, in our society today, there have been many measures, especially by law, to take care of rape cases. I know rape cases now in law is not against the victim, it's against the state itself when you commit rape. So there are actions being taken. But the thing is that these things will keep happening. And I think what should be done is young ladies and people to be armed with tools to protect themselves in this. Yeah.
Do you think it will be possible for someone who's going out in the early hours of the morning for the day's job, and then you start walking about with tools and all of that? Don't you think people would also, like the ladies might also abuse that privilege and then...
Yeah, there's abuse, but everything can always be abused, definitely. But when I mean tools, I don't mean guns, so actually. I mean like tasers.
Anything harmful can be abused, don't you think?
Yes, true. But the state also, in the administration of the tools to the people, also need to administer as well guidelines to whereby the tool is not an assault on another human being. Because, yeah, some people who are not normal as well may use that as an opportunity to avenge, to avenge all the people that they don't like. And to paint it into a rape case. So that's why I feel these things like tasers, pepper sprays, all these things should be carried around by ladies, because I don't think, because what kind of sensitization will you do? What seminar will you do to help rapists stop being rapists? That's the thing. It's only if like they are changed from within, and that's God's work to do. So,
okay. For the issue of the little girl that was raped and then was also beaten or malhandled by the neighbor, yes, I think the neighbor, yes. So I don't. There's this thing that always happens when, you know, just like you were saying earlier, you see bad things happening and people just stand and look. Wasn't there neighbors around, like when this child was being, first of all, the child was beaten before you go ahead to apply pepper on the body and then also in the private part of that child?
Oh my God.
Is it like they didn't have neighbors around? Because I feel like if they were to be any of these people around, there should have been a case of, okay, it's okay, don't do this, no, you shouldn't do that. Okay, so, and these things happen often where you see people are being wrongfully treated and then people just stand and look. Do you think any level of punishment should be given to those people, like the onlookers, people who just stand by, watch and do nothing when such cases are going on? Do you think it's right for such to happen? And if in a situation where you have those people around and then they do absolutely nothing, do you think a certain measure of punishment or level of punishment should be given to those people?
I think, my answer is going to be dicey. I think yes and no as well.
Okay.
Because we need to face facts. Community life is slowly fading away from our society. When we were younger, we have this ideology that it takes a village to raise a child or a person. But things have escalated so wrongly that even in your cause to help somebody, you can get into trouble. Okay. Now, I can remember a case of my dad while we were much younger trying to separate a fighter and got arrested for it. He was. So now people have this idea to just mind their business. And, and sometimes they mind it at the detriment of another person around them, because people don't want to get involved in things that is going to escalate. Nobody likes trouble. Some people do, but not everybody.
Not everybody.
Exactly. So there are situations like the girl being beaten and one now, okay, let's talk about me being in that situation. And I'm just passing and I see that happening. One, I won't get involved, not because I'm heartless. One, I don't know the story behind it. I don't know if it's a mother punishing the child. I don't know. And even if a mother punishing a child, I think that's wrong. Personally, that's my view. And I don't know if it's a mother punishing a child. I don't know if there's a criminal being apprehended. I don't know the whole story behind this.
But how a 13-year-old girl being beaten by an elderly woman and you're just going to walk past?
Now, when you say it like that...
Yes, because from what we heard, this child was beaten and also you had pepper on her body and all of that. So are you saying you would just walk past if in a situation?
That's the thing. I would want to help.
Okay.
Definitely, the human in me would want to help. But now, our society is not safe. It cannot. Do you know that as well can be a gimmick to actually harm a third party?
Okay.
Like putting up a scene. You've heard about stories like this where scenes are created and the people who go to help are now the victims. So that could also be a situation. But I think in cases like that, the authorities are supposed to be contacted. But again now, being honest, how effective are the authorities in these matters? How fast will they get there when the young lady is dead? So these are things, yes, there is a need to help. You are supposed to help, you are supposed to intervene, but fear of the consequences of, or what the scenario might actually be, can sometimes keep people back. So yes, there can be measures whereby if you see things like this and you do not report,